Everyone, and welcome back to another video. This time I'm bringing a Supreme Leader Kylo counter that's not using Jedi. It's going to be using Darth Vader, so it's a bit more free-to-play friendly, even though like most people will have Luke at this point, since his event just came back. I'm not sure if it's still running. I think it is. But yeah, so it's going to be more accessible for a lot of people. The only thing is it's not as consistent as the Jedi counter. It can fail sometimes because there is some RNG to it, to getting crits and landing ability blocks sometimes. So there's RNG in that, but it's still fairly consistent. Now I'm going to show the battle first because I think usually people are more interested in the battle than the mods and why the team works. So I'm going to go against this team on the left here from D-Wall. He's got a great team. I've shown him a lot in my other videos before. He's a great guy. He helps me a lot with testing. The team I'm going to be using here is this. Now, I'll explain everything about the mods and the gear afterwards, so I'll just jump into the battle and the strategy right now. So with Watt, you can do it both ways, but I like to do the shield generator on my tank first. When Watt goes, they're going to do their things. Short Trooper is usually going to die. But now it's your turn. So you're going to pass the turn meter from Thrawn to Traya, and you're going to isolate Stormtrooper, not crew. It's important that it's Stormtrooper that you isolate for a reason I will show you in just 1 second. Now, you have given the weapon tech to Vader, and he's ready to go into Merciless. So, it's important that you do this... Sorry. It's important that you do this in this exact order. You're going to Force Crush on Supreme Leader Kylo. And then you're going to Calling Blade Sith Trooper. Then you're going to do a round of basics on everyone. And it's important to do a basic on crew because you want him to counter. While he is taunt, he has a 100% counter chance, which means he is certain to counter. And lose his advantage, which means he loses his crit immunity. Now you're going to do the basics on the others. And it's pretty important to get the ability block on Hux, because I think if you don't get it, you're in for a bad time. We will see how this goes, but I don't think this is going to go great. Yeah, so that's the problem we have here, is that he's got a lot of turn meter, and he's going to cleanse Kylo on his next turn. So I'm going to hope that Trey can ability block him. Because if we don't get that, we're kind of screwed. Okay, we got it. We're fine. That's what I said the RNG is mostly about. It's the ability block on Hux. Because had he got a turn there with his special, he would have... been able to cleanse all the debuffs from Kylo, and we would have lost there. So now we just have Kylo here, and Stormtrooper, he doesn't matter because he's isolated. With this many debuffs, it's about what you'll usually get, maybe a few less, a few more. But yeah, you go into your second round of Merciless, and you just delete Kylo. And you're good to go. Stormtrooper's not going to annoy you at all. Now, I'm probably going to lose some of you because you don't care about the mods, but I'm still going to show them and talk about why the team works. First things first, it's Vader. For this counter, you actually want Vader with a lot of crit chance, potency, and offense. His speed doesn't matter as much as it does versus Rey, because you actually need him to be kind of slow for Watt and Thrawn both to get their turns before him. So I run him at 249 speed, with a crit damage triangle, 115% potency, which is quite a lot, but I like it because with the added 40% potency from Treya's leadership, even if they have their tanks modded with tenacity, I'm still going to land a few of my dots, which I do need to delete crew. And also offense and crit chance. Now, crit chance, ideally, you do want it to be at 75%, so you have 100% crit chance when you're attacking crew with the Culling Blade. I don't have that, which is why sometimes the counter also fails for me. If you can get it to 75%, it becomes a bit more consistent, but try not to do it at the expense of offense, because offense, you need a lot of offense as well. You need kind of around 8,000 as I have it here. When you start going lower, you might run into some crews that you can't delete. Actually, I forgot to show his mods on the crew. It's a pretty decent modded one, 112,000 HP, 60,000 protection, so it's not a joke. But sometimes there might be some crews that are tankier than him, and so it might be harder to kill those guys. Now, next, we're going to have our Empire, which is Thrawn. For Thrawn, you really need speed and some survivability. For everyone on this team, you need some amount of survivability. So at the minimum, 100,000 health and protection combined. More is obviously better, but that's the minimum, really, except for the tank. The tank needs a lot more, obviously. But also you need speed. So I have my Thrawn at 306 speed. The important thing is that Thrawn goes before Vader, and Vader in that team is going to get 40 speed, so my Vader is at 289. So my Thrawn and Watt as well, both of them need to be faster than 289. So 306, it's faster, I'm going to go before Vader. Next is your tank with, in my case, it's Short Trooper. It's not actually a great tank for this composition. Short Trooper is great against Rey because of the Empire synergy, but against Kylo, there's other tanks that are better here. And I'm going to tell you which ones. So, yeah, basically for him, you don't really need anything but health, protection, and defense. The defense is also good. I don't have a lot of defense because I have my Short Trooper modded kind of fast for the Rey counter as well. But yeah, this amount of health and protection is enough for him to tank, but better tanks exist. Now, there are a few of them. There is Imperial Stormtrooper. Why? Because he gets a crap load of defense from his unique. He's going to get 40% defense for each Empire ally, which means himself, Thrawn, and Vader, and then he's going to get another 30% defense on top of that, which means plus 150% defense. And yeah, he gets defense up from this, but he's never going to get to use it. That doesn't matter. So the Stormtrooper is better than Short Trooper, and there's other tanks as well. There's obviously like Crew as a better tank because he has some like health regeneration on his unique, and a lot of people will have him relicked up for Supreme Leader Kylo, but I don't like to use Crew here because he's better off in some other team, and he's also not that much better than Stormtrooper is definitely the best tank here. The second best tank is going to be this guy. Now, this guy also gets plus 100% defense. It's not as much as Stormtrooper, but it's better than Stormtrooper because this guy is generally more useful than Stormtrooper. So it's a lower ask to have him relicked up. You do need him at some relics because at year 12 he's not going to survive 2 hits from Kylo. So you want him at like relic 4-ish. To be able to tank. He is one of the better tanks. Him and Stormtrooper really are the two best tanks here. Next, we're going to have Traya. For Traya, there's two important things again: speed and health and protection. So again, above 100,000, mine is at gear 12, and you saw that it works. She doesn't die, but ideally, it's better for her to be gear 13 in relic. It doesn't have to be super high relics, but you know, it helps. And for the speed, I would say around 250, 260 speed is a good place for her. If you start to go faster, you will probably lose some survivability, and some extra potency is also nice to help land that ability block on Hux, like I showed in the battle. So that's also nice. But yeah, that does it for Traya, and now it's Watt. Watt is our last character. For him, I would also suggest, basically, I would suggest everyone to be relic up here. Mine is gear 13 with no relics, and it still works, but relics obviously is better. For Watt, again, health, protection, and you want him to be faster than Vader. That's really all you need. Some extra potency on him is also nice because he can get the dots to land when he assists. But if it comes at the cost of health, protection, or speed, then don't do it. So yeah, that does it for the mods. And one more thing I want to touch up on is the reason why you want to isolate Stormtrooper and not Crew. Both Crew and Stormtrooper have counter chains. The only difference is that Crew has 100% while he's taunting, and Stormtrooper only has 65%. So it means that 35% of the time, say you isolated Crew and you're going to basic Stormtrooper, there's a 35% chance that Stormtrooper is not going to counter you and lose his advantage. And if he doesn't lose advantage, you can't kill him. It's the same with Crew. But there's a second part to it, is that Stormtrooper, if he has the data, which he usually will, he gets a 50% chance to call an assist whenever he uses an ability. So even if he counters and he loses his advantage, he might be able to call someone to assist. And if that someone is Supreme Leader Kylo, your Vader is dead, which means you have lost the match. Which is why it's important to isolate him so he doesn't get any counters and assists and shenanigans, and it's much easier to get the advantage off of Crew. So that does it for this video. I hope it helped you guys broaden your Galactic Legends counters and your roster. If you enjoyed the video, please do help the channel and leave a like, and also subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I'm going to see you guys next time.